Hello there, Force of Will players, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over the spoiler set from the previous week. Normally I do these on Fridays, however, I am going to be taking a 2-week vacation, which I won't have access to my setup or anything like that, so I was waiting till the last day before my vacation in order to get the most spoilers out. With that being said, I will be maybe keeping updates or my thoughts on certain things that might come out up on my Twitter, which you can go check out. I'll have a link in the description of this video. But anyway, so starting off with the spoiler set, we last ended on Thunder of Zeus and Typhonomachy were the most recent cards spoiled within the last video. I believe the arena expansion had been spoiled that day, but it wasn't up yet on Force of Wind, so I hadn't gone over my thoughts on it. So anyway, we have all the arena expansions, and then we have a lot of Zeus support that we'll get into, and I'll give my thoughts about all of that as we go through the cards. So starting off, we have Athena's arena expansion. So all of the rulers in each of the Game of Gods, this one as well, get an addition that is supposed to revolve around them. So Athena's gives darkness magic stones you control gain the ability to tap and produce wind will. This is especially relevant with an older card that came out back in, it was after, I think it was Return of the Dragon Emperor was the set, RDE. It was the set that came out with Gil Alhamat. And they released a card called Demon Orderly, which is a resonator that says treat this card as a darkness magic stone. So how effects like that work, treat this card as a darkness magic stone, or we've seen it with like Nyarlathotep's doll recently, treat this card as a fire magic stone. Nyarlathotep's arena expansion, where fire magic stones gain the ability to tap for, or not tap for, fire magic stones are also light magic stones, and darkness magic stones is the wording on it. So there have been a lot of questions about how stuff like that works in terms of what can tap for will and what can't tap for will. So when a card refers to itself as a darkness magic stone, so let's take Demon Orderly for example, it itself is treated specifically as a darkness magic stone. In order for Demon Orderly to produce will, two things have to be true. One of two things have to be true. One, it either has to gain the type of magic stone. So darkness magic stone is a subtype of magic stone. It is not the actual typing magic stone. So it would either have to gain that typing, or it would have, a card would have to specifically reference darkness magic stones gaining something. In this case, Flourishing Bonefield does reference specifically darkness magic stones, which allows Demon Orderly to tap and produce Wind Will. This is very similar to how Sylvia Gil Paralis, I think that's the name, an older ruler says fire magic stones gain the ability to tap for green. So she allows Nyarlathotep's doll, which is treated as a fire magic stone, to tap for Wind Will. Because it, even though it doesn't have the magic stone typing, it is specifically gaining that effect because it is a fire magic stone and it is specifically referenced. Okay, so Flourishing Bonefield makes Demon Orderly a mana dork, basically. So how do we play it? How do we easily play it? So Force Resonance Death, which is the front side, that is the ruler side. You can remove 3 cards in your grave from the game rather than pay this card's cost. Enter, your opponent discards a card, banishes a resonator, and loses 500 life. The Bonefield itself does not have quick cast, so you have to play this at sorcery speed. However, do keep in mind that we do have Mikage Shinjiro, which has the effect to pay a darkness, discard it from hand, mill 3. So that gives you 4 cards into your grave, which allows you to immediately have at least 3 options for Flourishing Bonefield. So it is very easy to play Flourishing Bonefield on turn 1. Now, it banishing a resonator, powerful effect, especially if you're going second. You can energize into playing Flourishing Bonefield, make your opponent banish a resonator, also discard a card, and also lose 500. So it's +1 inherently if you're on death, as long as your opponent has a resonator in play. And again, we've determined that it's quite easy to play on death. On rebirth, if you have Athena ordered, so you have the Order of Death and Rebirth, you can put 3 cards from your RFG into your grave rather than pay the card's cost. Again, that whole cyclical nature of how the deck functions. And then you draw a card, recover a resonator, and you gain 500 life. So it kind of gives you the value back of it, so it plays for at least card neutral. You gain a little life, and then you can recover a Resonator, potentially Demon Orderly acting as a dork, or things like that, right? So, very good card for Athena. My assumption, we haven't seen it yet, but my assumption is Athena is going to get some form of Lila retrain, because I don't think we have any stones announced for the set, like special magic stones. So my assumption is that we are going to get some kind of card that Athena ramps into Darkness Magic Stones like that. Or she'll have more cards that are treated like Darkness Magic Stones or things like that in order to promote some form of ramp within the deck, with her primary function being, again, like you're producing darkness on her death side. Rebirth, you get access to wind, and you can kind of, again, that whole cyclical nature of the deck. Very good card for the deck. You probably play 4 of this, because even though the a lot of the arena expansions, it's like kind of like a one and done type deal, like you don't really gain multiple value off of having multiple of them, like Nyarlathoteps, Kagias, things like that, especially the original ones. Flourishing Bonefield, having that enter, allows it to still gain value and be played for free, and promote, again, the movement of cards between your graveyard and RFG that Athena wants. So I'm pretty sure you're going to play 4 of this. Also, the fact it doesn't have Eternal or Barrier like some of the other arena expansions do. The thing with that is Athena also looks like it'll want to play Attendant of Asmodeus, which Attendant of Asmodeus is the best way to get around these editions that have Eternal. Currently. There are other ways, but Attendant is probably the most consistent and efficient way. And Athena already wants to play Attendant because of it promoting mana ramp as well as RFG of cards in order to promote, again, that cyclical nature of the deck. Lastly, about Bonefield, when the whole set is like finally done and artists start posting like the art to like their Twitters or anything like that, if anyone can find me like the full art, like textless art of this, I want it. I don't know why, I just love like the watercolor on this thing. It looks gorgeous in my opinion. So moving on, Lich, Immortal Saint. So Tails, a single Darkness Will 4/4. Enter if there are no cards in your grave, destroy all other J Resonators. And then Revolution, so if it's ordered, if there are no cards in your RFG, put target Resonator from your graveyard into the field. So you can activate both of these effects. The conditionals is on resolution. It's not reliant on cast. The only exception to that is you do need a Resonator in your grave for the second enter, because it does target. So you will need that. So unfortunately, if you try and you can layer it so that you can get the Resonator first and then get the nuke on the board to destroy everything else. However, you can't do it the other way around, because if you were to remove the Resonator from your grave, you wouldn't be able to get it back, because it wouldn't be a legal target anymore, because it had moved. It's not the same like target card type. So do keep that in mind. It's good for like if you're trying to proc enter effects, so like you can play like Mikage Rhea, dump like a Griffin, play Lich, get the Griffin back, nuke the board, you go up 2 stones. You can Part of True Power afterwards, but you've already nuked the board, so keep that in mind. Or you can do it where you don't nuke the board, but then you need something else engraved to Part of True Power. There's some kind of sort of quasi-loop thing you can do with Lich. However, its ability to resurrect a just Resonator, quite a powerful effect. And is probably the one you'll use the most. It just also being able to nuke the board if you need it to is also nice. It doesn't have quick cast, so unless we have some way to give it quick cast, which I don't think we do, in Athena specifically, at least currently, the nuke effect is less impactful, but it's still good against like, decks like Magical Dragons or other things like that. Arena expansion, Valley of the Dragons. This is going to be Dragonflames. So a couple things about this one. The effect to whenever a dragon enters the field, just do damage to your opponent, gain that much life, and then you can pay white and or light and water less if your dragon power is 20 or more. You don't really get to 20 dragon power until probably you could probably do it turn 2 at the earliest. Turn 3 is probably the most consistent. I think if you're doing it turn 2, you need to have ordered something already, and then you need a Pangtong, I think is the name. It's like the Phoenix that doubles your dragon power on Revolution. I think that's the most consistent and easy way to get to 20 by turn 2. By turn 3, you'll probably have it. This card kind of functions more as like a win con and less of like an engine, like Flourishing Bonefield does for Athena. The final effect, if your dragon power is 100 or more, you may put any number of resonators from your hand or into a grave into the field. It seems a little overkill, because I feel like if you resolve that enter, it just pinging everything with because you're playing dragons, right? In Dragonflame, assumedly, you're probably just gonna kill your opponent. There is an interesting thing to try and do with this, and try and play it like Guibers or other things. But the issue is the conditional is based off of 20 dragon power, which isn't super easy to get like early in the game. And because of that, I'm not particularly sure how powerful this arena expansion will be or how prevalent it will be. Again, you can probably use it as a game ender, but you would have to play a control thing while you constantly get your dragon power up, and I feel like you're going to want to go from 50 to 100 with like a Pangtong. I'm just going to keep calling it Pangtong. We're just going to figure out what it is real quick so I don't sound like an idiot this whole time. Where's that Phoenix? Pangtong, I was right. So Pangtong Awakening Phoenix. You're probably just going to go from 50 to 100 with Pangtong. Like I don't see how you're slowly incrementing that up. We might still see more ways to gain dragon power, but otherwise the only other like dragon power cards we have is gaining 10 off of chance. So it'll take a while to get to that point, but I guess if you get there and you resolve this card, you're probably going to win the game on the spot. So Apostle of Dragonflame, this card gains plus X100 where X is your dragon power. If you order this on turn 1, it is a 500, 700 with flying in color, and you got 5 dragon power. It's already a dragon, so it doesn't gain the benefit of being a dragon off of Dragonflame. It's just not great. We'll just move on. Arena expansion, Mount Orthus. So this is Typhon's arena expansion. So Darkness Chance in your hand, gain quick cast. Nice. And then whenever a non-token machine resonator you control is put into the grave, put a 4/4 machine resonator into the field, and then machines gain plus 200. It has Eternal, and this is while you're Typhon. It'll have Eternal, and then when it becomes revealed from outside the game, you can put it into the field. So the interesting thing about Mount Orthus, as well as some other stuff that we've seen with Typhon, is you're revealing a lot of stuff from your sideboard. So odds are Typhon isn't going to have much of a sideboard. It'll just primarily be whatever main deck you have. However, this will probably be the first thing you want to reveal. So you get to reveal something off the order, and then we'll get into Echidna in a second. She also lets you reveal some stuff. But giving Darkness Chance in your hand quick cast is quite powerful. It's a lot of instant speed discard. It allows you to play your Typhon's Bloods at instant speed, which allows you to cycle through them quicker, because again, they gain more. They become more powerful if you have 6 or more in your grave, but you can only play 1 per turn. So this allows you to also play them on your opponent's turn. So this lets you cycle through them a lot faster. It also gives you a bunch of resonators just to function as kind of like blocking material to kind of stay at a high life total and eventually stabilize and just grind your opponent out of resources. And then it just also makes your guys stronger. It does have Eternal, which makes them more powerful. Again, these things do lose to Attendant of Asmodeus, which might be a very powerful card. I think the Arena expansion is really impactful for Typhon. I don't know if you play 4 of it in Typhon's sideboard. I feel like you definitely play 3 of it. And I'll explain my reasoning for that in a second. But I do think you play 3 of it purely because Attendant being able to kill it, as well as other cards being able to get rid of it, and it being so impactful to your game plan, makes you want to play more. So Echidna. has Quick Cast Bane, and it's a 1-drop darkness. It is a machine. 4/4, it's a 10/10 if you rev it. And then you can reveal up to 2 machines you own from outside the game and keep them revealed. Echidna is super, 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 super important to Typhon. It is probably the best card Typhon got. And it being a rare is kind of hysterical. The thing with Echidna, one, its effect to reveal means it has to be ordered. This allows it to also be better in other decks that might want it to be ordered, right? So like, for example, if you're playing a villains deck that revolves around orders, maybe you have some other machines in your sideboard, you being able to reveal them off of Echidna is just like a decent play, right? In Typhon, this gives you 3 reveals, 2 on machines and 1 on whatever. Specifically with Typhon, this allows you to get 2 potential arena expansions if you're playing it at quick cast speed, right? And let's say your opponent's going to just end the game on the spot, you can get 3 Typhon's Hearts, right? So that'll give you 3 0/4000s, and then the effect to prevent you from losing the game. So the important thing with those is being able to get multiple Typhon's Hearts is a lot powerful than getting just a singular heart, because multiple hearts will prevent the you lose the game trigger from occurring, because you can't lose the game while there's a heart in play. So being able to get multiple hearts, even though the enter doesn't particularly matter, is quite strong. The other thing, while the enter doesn't necessarily particularly matter, it does give you potential options. So like, for example, with the Typhon's Hearts, you can play an Echidna, reveal a heart comes into play, or the reveal enter goes on the chase. I'd have to look at how it's exactly worded, but like in response to the chase, if you have an arena expansion in play, or maybe you reveal another arena expansion off of the Echidna or Typhon effect, you can play like Final Battle at quick cast speed, right? Because it's a darkness chant, nuke your whole life total down to whatever you feel comfortable with, give your opponent a huge minus on their board. The other enter effect goes on, the hearts come into play, you reset your life total, you can do something in response to you resetting your life total again. There's just so much random gameplay around gaining quick cast as well as resetting your life total in order to pay it off. Whispers from the Abyss, other effects that potentially reduce your life. The Echidna, the multiple reveal, the simultaneous multiple reveal is incredibly impactful for Typhon and very, 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 very strong. And it's honestly strong enough where if you're trying to play Typhon, I know a bunch of people are memeing with you just play every darkness card in the game, as much shuffle cards in the game, shuffle your deck ridiculously, right? But if you're trying to play Typhon competitively, I don't think you go above 100 cards, because I think you really, really want to draw Echidna as well as your other potential power darkness cards in order to just get them all into play. Like, there might not even be a whole lot of room for Typhon's antibodies. You'll probably want to play somewhere like 25 Typhon's Bloods, just a 1-in-4 ratio for the deck, and them just being machines is good. But the multiple reveal effect and just giving darkness chance quick cast and just things like that lead to so many possibilities for the deck. And honestly, outside of it just being a meme fiesta with you have no maximum deck size, you can have a 8 billion card deck, right? I actually like the design of Typhon and how the cards are shaping up with the reveal from outside the game mechanic. So Echidna and Mount Orthrus kind of made me flip my opinion on Typhon a little bit. Still hate the fact that the deck is like uncapped. I wish they just said it capped at 200 instead of you have no maximum deck size, but it is what it is. Moving on. Arena expansion Mount Olympus. This card is very good. So we're getting into all the Zeus cards, and so for the rest of the spoilers, every spoiler set is going to be one of the 12 Olympians we haven't seen, as well as a new idea for Zeus. The new thing for Zeus is each of the other, fighters, gods, whatever it might be. I don't know what they're exactly supposed to be, but all of the other rulers from the previous sets, including this set, except for Typhon, have an essence power. We know that they said there's going to be 10 essences, which is the 10 other rulers besides Typhon. Because 4 in Game of Gods, 4 in Game of Gods Reloaded, and then 4 in this one, right? So we have these essences. These essences are chants that are allowed to be ordered. So you can order chants, and each of them have the effect that at the next end of turn, you flip Zeus back. So it's very similar to feasting and for Kaguya. And the reasoning is you want to get as many order effects off of Zeus as possible, because all the new 12 Olympians gain their effect when they're added to your hand from your deck by the effect of Zeus, or order of the 12 Olympians. These also just give you tokens. The tokens don't do anything. They don't have an inherent effect. However, this also makes the chants unchaseable, right? Because you can chase the chants, it means that all of their effects are just unchaseable, which means, like, for example, Essence of Kaguya's power, I know I'm kind of jumping ahead, but Essence of Kaguya's power, cancel target spell unless its controller pays 2. There's no way that they can cancel this. They can't fair spell it. They can't do anything to it. It is not a resonator gaining the effect, so it's unlore-iteable, so on and so forth, right? So that is something to keep in mind for all of these. As long as you have the order, like, unordered, and you hadn't ordered that turn, all of the effects that we see off of the essence effects are going to be unchaseable and always resolve, okay? So that is the new mechanic we got, and then it's just a new Olympian each day. And then we also have the Arena. So the Arena expansion has Eternal and Barrier. It's the most protected one. Still dies to a Tenon of Asmodeus. So that's kind of funny. It has the text that if it would be revealed by the effect of Enter of Order of the Olympians, you can put it into the field instead. So it just has a from deck to field clause off of your first order. It is more than likely the card you're going to be ordering the most. Or getting off the first order, like, most of the time. And then if you are Zeus, you can tap it, discard a card, draw a card. If you discard a new 12 Olympians, you can draw 2. Or you can put a new 12 Olympian from your grave on the bottom of your deck. It's serving the cyclical nature of how the Olympians are supposed to just keep coming back to your hand over and over and over again, right? So it has that attached to it. The thing with Arena Expansion Mount Olympus, yes, it is very good for the deck. I'm sure you can just realize that by looking at it. It has the new 12 Olympian Gods trait, which means it counts toward Union 7 for all the new 12 Olympians. The order itself also gives the card it is ordering new 12 Olympians, so that already counts for 2 of the 7 you need. Now you just need another 5, either pitched in your grave, put on the field, RFG'd, whatever it may be. The Arena expansion itself, there are a couple other things that this does that are kind of impactful. The main one being it working with feasting, kind of like I said earlier. So, like, if you look at Kaguya, and what Kaguya currently does is if you have a Kaguya, you can order your feasting, you get your moon, and then your moon counts as the addition in order to make your opponent pay 1. This works the exact same way. You're not getting a moon, you're just getting the Arena expansion. So if your opponent goes first and attempts to play anything, you can feasting it. You use the enter off of the Order of the Olympians. You get Arena expansion Mount Olympus into play. Feasting cancels something unless its controller pays 1. Feasting also has the text to put your ruler back. I don't remember if that's under a Force Resonance, though. I should probably check that out. Hang on. We're just going to look if that is under Force Resonance Moon. It is not. It is under Revolution. So feasting can also just put the order back, which, again, that serves the cyclical nature of wanting to keep reordering over and over and over again. It's also a Tails. Zeus is also Tails. So feasting works very, very well within the deck as a cancel. You don't really have any more additions currently. You might get more. You might want to play more. But feasting does work as a very good turn 1 play, in addition to just kind of always being there as, like, another version of these essences to flip your ruler back, and also draw a card when you flip it back. Essence of Alice's power. This is a mana ramp, which is kind of funny. You get a 6/6 Light Angel with flying, and then you produce 2 wills for 1 because you're Zeus. You pay 1 less. This is, I think this is the most powerful one. I think the only other one that might be more powerful than it is Kaguya's power because it's a cancel that we've seen so far, but I think just getting the extra will in whatever combination you want is more powerful than Essence of Kaguya's power for now. I don't know, pretty self-explanatory what it does, I think. I don't really need to go much into it. Artemis. Artemis is at Union 7. It becomes a destroy 2 things. The other Union 7s we've seen have been a lot more impactful. So I'm not really super into it just being like a destroy 2 things. It's also destroy 2 things for a single mana, which I mean is powerful. And then it also has the recover up to 2 magic stones, so it can just be used as a form of like recovery and things like that. So like if you're going into like your second order or whatever, you play Essence of Alice's power, you order it, you get Artemis to your hand. Artemis gives you 2 magic stones, or you recover up to 2 magic stones. So let's say you have 2, you get, and you paid 1 will for it, so you get 1 will off of that, you get 2 more will off of Essence of Alice's power, you go up 3 will, right? That's kind of how that's working, and then it just serves as destruction in like the late game. Again, all of the Olympians, regardless of what they say, if you're Zeus, you're probably playing all 12 in order to hit Union 7 as soon as humanly possible. Essence of Kagi is power, cancel unless it pays 2, and then you get a 4/4 cat, right? We've already talked about why that's powerful and why it being unchaseable is powerful. Hestia, swiftness 2/7, a single red, so it only costs 1 will, which I think this and Nept or Poseidon, I think are the only ones that cost 1 that we've seen so far. So that's good to note. Enter, or on reveal of an enter, deals 500 to a player J-Res, and then Union 7 J-Reses gain swiftness, and then deal 1,000 to your opponent and each resonator they control, and then when Hestia attacks you can destroy target damage J-Res. It's sort of a destruction, I don't know, sort of a destruction as well as just like kind of like an end game win con, right? You're going to play it. There's no reason not to. You need the Union 7 probably as soon as humanly possible. Essence of Nyarlathotep's power, it is a single mana, so this is just 1 mana, not 2, like Essence of Kagi's power or the Dante one that we'll see later. You get a 6/2 Fire Cthulhu. That token does have swiftness. And then you deal 500 to a player or J-Res. You can do a decent amount of burn in the deck. You're not really recycling the chance, at least not that I've seen. You could play cards like Spinning Aquasoul or Elixir's Love or things like that in the deck in order to recycle them, but odds are you're probably not. The deck itself, so if we take a look at Zeus, right, we now have the new 12 Olympians, with Zeus being the first one. So Zeus is the first Olympian, that is his name. If we assume the arena expansion does not count towards being an Olympian, we're going to have 2 through 12 within the deck, which is 11 more, right? 11, 12 in the deck, 13 is the Zeus order. So we have 12 new 12 Olympian gods within the deck. You're probably going to play all of the elemental spells that Zeus has. Maybe not Thunder of Zeus, but like if you just play all the elemental ones, that's 5 more cards, right? Fire, Light, Wind, Water, Darkness of Zeus. So now you're at 17 cards in the deck. If you play all of the essences, now you're at 27 cards in the deck. If you play Thunder of Zeus, you're at 28. If you play Typhonomachy, you're at 29. Right? So the Zeus deck is kind of at a point building itself, right? It's very self-contained within the set. And so odds are the first cards that you start to cut are going to be the essences, or potentially like Thunder of Zeus, Typhonomachy, things that you might not get off as frequently. Essence of Odin's power, prevent the next damage that would be dealt to you. If the source of that damage is a J resonator, you may destroy it, and then you get a 6/6 with flying. I think that's a pretty decent card. It works sort of like a Calamity Shield. It doesn't redirect the damage, but if you would take damage, it does destroy the thing dealing that damage, right? So I mean, I would love to be like, okay, I don't take damage, and your Baja does not deal damage to me, right? Things like that. Okay, now we get into text galore, the Olympians themselves. So we're gonna zoom in on this one. Oh god. So Athena, the 7th Olympian, is a lightning helix, or a, oh shoot, there was a Lumia card that did the exact same thing, but I can't, Crimson Ray? I think it's called Crimson Ray. So you deal 600 to something, you gain 600 life. This also prevents all damage that would be dealt to you until end of turn, which is pretty good. And then whenever it attacks, it deals damage equal to its attack to your opponent and all J-reses they control. So it also kind of works as a functional sort of burn thing, and you prevent all damage that would be dealt to you while this card is in play. And then you can also play it as if it had quick cast if you have 6 or more new 12 Olympian gods with different names in public zones or revealed from outside the game. I don't know lore because it's the 7th Olympian. I don't know why they did 6 and then 7. And then at 7 it gains swiftness, flying, and if it deals damage it deals that much plus 1,000 instead, and if it will be dealt damage you prevent 1,000 of it. This kind of functions as its like own contained OTK at Union 7, right? Because when it attacks it'll deal 900 plus 1,000, and then it'll hit for 900 plus 1,000, which is 38. So it's almost lethal in and of itself if you're just at Union 7 and it connects. Pretty good. Again, I'd rate these in the sense of like you'd play it versus you don't play it, but if you're playing Zeus, you're going to play all of these. There is an argument to actually play these in other Tails decks potentially, because you can run multiple copies outside. You don't get to proc the Union 7 as quickly potentially, but like if you're playing something like, if you take like Asmodeus, for example, which just God's Art removes 7 cards from the game, right? And you're like a 60 card deck, you can just play these to try and proc like your Union 7s quickly, and then just win the game off the back of an Athena coming into play off of Light of Raise and Revive, Hestia coming into play, just shit like that, right? So those options also exist, but for the sake of just Zeus, you're just playing one of all of these. There's not much else to really say about it. Essence of Shiva's power. This one needs a target, which is kind of interesting. All of these other ones don't really need a target. Essence of a Nyarlathotep does, but you as a player are always a legal target, so there's like no real not legal target, and then I just probably wouldn't play Essence of Kagi's power if there wasn't anything to cancel. So this needs something in play to target in order for you to actually cast it or try casting it, so do keep that in mind. Otherwise it's just like a fight spell. Again, it's another form of removal, like another removal card for Zeus that also allows you to loop the order, right? Aries. So Aries is a cancel spell. It's similar to Feasting and how Feasting works off of additions. However, Aries works off of new 12 Olympians in public zones or revealed from outside the game. His Union 7 is if you cancel if a spell or ability you control cancels a spell or ability, or a spell or ability your opponent controls is canceled by a spell or ability you control, is the whole text. You can recover up to 2 stones, and then if the canceled ability is a J-res, if the source of the canceled ability is a J-resonator, you can destroy the J-res. So it kind of functions as like a semi-stifle slash kill. So like, I mean, that's kind of interesting that you can play like Lorite or again the Feasting or things like that, cancel like a J-resonator's active and then also kill it, where a stifle doesn't normally kill something. Might make Rig Veda good, right? Like you can cancel something on the chase, you can cancel an ability, you can destroy something, Aries will trigger, destroy the abilities thing that you canceled, and then you basically go like 3 for 1. And then you only pay 1 mana for it because he'll recover 2 stones. So interesting thing that you could do with that. Maybe you play a Rig Veda in the deck. It's kind of a blowout with Aries. He also has quick cast to function as a cancel spell. Yeah, that's kind of all he's really doing. Hera, the 9th Olympian. A discard. So you look at your opponent's hand and choose a card. So it's targeted discard. It is also instant speed discard because you can be revealed off the order, off of Zeus enters the Game of Gods. So instant speed discard is the best kind of discard. So that is very powerful. Being a floodgate at Union 7, preventing your opponent from, or only allowing your opponent to play 1 card per turn, quite strong. And then it having Drain and Bane and being able to ping for 200 allows you to kind of just slowly nuke off resonators or J resonators that your opponent might be playing. Yeah, pretty good. And then Essence of Dante's power. Your opponent banishes the resonator with the highest attack from among resonators they control, not targeted, so they don't need to control anything for you to actually play this one. And then you get a 6/6 token with flying. and then it's the loop back. We'll actually, all the cards are not in yet, so I'll pull up the ones from today real quick on Discord. I'm not sure if you can really see this that well, unfortunately, but I'll just talk about Aphrodite real quick. So Aphrodite's the 10th, light and water. This one's really good. So Zeus being at 4,000 life is technically a bad thing, quote unquote. The decks that we've seen in the past, Almerius and now Typhon, decks that have just had more than 4,000 life, tend to have a little bit of a buffer against like the OTK decks and things like that. This allows Zeus to kind of just be at 6,000 life, in addition to having the draw card effect. So even if you play as Zeus enters the Game of Gods, your enters the Game of Gods is almost always going to go value neutral. And you might just get other bonus effects off of it. So gain 2,000, draw a card. If damage would be dealt to you, it's dealt to Aphrodite instead, and you can play Aphrodite as if it had quick cast, as long as you control 6 other new 12 Olympians. Same thing as Athena from earlier. And then its Union 7 is if you would gain life, you gain double that amount, or if you would draw a card, you draw 2 cards instead. Very, very powerful. Just the fact that its Union 7 is a replacement effect for its normal enter. So like if it's the 7th new 12 Olympian and you put it into play and its enter triggers, you'll gain 4,000 and draw 2 cards, which is huge, right? I don't know what else in the deck would really be gaining life, at least currently. But you do have other things that are drawing cards, Essence of Loki's Power, which we'll get into in a second, being one of them. So Aphrodite is seemingly a fairly strong Olympian amongst them. And then Essence of Loki's Power, it's water, quick cast, draw 2 cards. Interesting thing about Essence of Loki's Power, even outside of the Force Resonance Olympians effect, it's kind of like 4C just got quick cast, right? Because 4C is water. It is also a mage art, so it does have that. Like, Essence of Loki's Power is not a strictly better 4C. 4C also can be played for free if you have a Mirage in play, but having the quick cast just like draw 2 off of the 2 blue is just kind of funny to see. And then yeah, it just has the normal Olympians token, and then it flips back text. So you're probably playing Essence of Loki's Power. The blue's nice. And yeah, so those are the spoilers from the previous week. If we get anything crazy while I am gone, I might put out my thoughts about it on my Twitter. Again, there will be a link in the description of this video to my Twitter if you want to go follow me on there. I'll also be posting photos of my vacation. If you're inclined to see that, I will be going to Italy. So if you want to see any of that, feel free to go follow me on there. There will be Wanderer Wednesdays while I'm on vacation. They're already recorded and scheduled. There'll be a tournament report as well from the Converging Wills event that happened this weekend. And then when I do get back from my vacation, the set will have already dropped. What I plan to do for kind of my content, and again, we'll do like updates and stuff like that, is I do still keep planning to do Wanderer Wednesdays. A lot of the new cards are nice to use with potentially older rulers, so we'll be potentially revisiting other stuff like that, as well as doing a deck for each of the new 4 rulers, what I would do, my take on it. The order will probably just be my like interest order, depending on like all the cards we get. Zeus I'm probably the most interested in, just in terms of the concept of the deck. Typhon, having gotten his like some more stuff, and if he gets even more things, I'll be a lot interested in that. Athena, the cyclical nature of the deck, I'm very interested in. I also love Dredge from Magic as a mechanic, self-mill. So that deck I'm interested in. And then Dragonflame is just kind of meh, but I'll make a deck for him anyway. But yeah, anyway, thank you all so much for watching. This will be the last spoiler set. I will do a full set review as well when I get back, as well as my top 10 cards from the set. But I hope you all have a great rest of your week, a great other 2 weeks, as well as a great rest of just your day today. And thank you all so much for stopping by. Bye-bye.